And we're live with the Pontiac Power Hour. I am Buff from Buff's Garage.
I'm Ray from Punisher Lemans Garage.
And I'm still recovering after even a couple of weeks from No Name Nationals, man. I'm telling you, that was one heck of an event.
Yes, it was. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm ready to do it again.
And you kind of already got your car up and going, don't you?
Yeah, I hope to drive it tomorrow.
Look at that. Broke the car, already fixed and ready to go.
I've had the transmission in and out 3 times.
Well, you got it down now. You know how to do it.
45 minutes, I can pull it.
I was to the point I could pull the engine out of that Pontiac I have in about 30, 35 minutes. And now if I never pull it out again, I'll be happy.
Well, you shouldn't have to.
No, I shouldn't have to. But let's go check the chat.
All right.
Early in, we've got Hunter from Sand Mountain Ballistics. Hello, sir. We then have Dakota's Timeout. Hello, Dakota. Jason's Garage in the chat. Jeff from Two Hacks. Let's see. JB's Little Shop. Hello, JB. Cousin Mike from Landon Custom Classics. And Lars, LP94.
And
so
Buck
thank you guys.
does it.
Oh, I missed Buck. Don't want to miss Buck does it.
How'd you miss Buck?
I guess I worked my way down and I saw it. It registered. It didn't come out my mouth.
And Shopcat just joined.
Oh, Kitty's here.
Wow.
Sure do love my Shopcat. All right, guys. Well, this week we do not have a guest for you. We're trying to, alternate between guests and history. And this week we decided to tackle something that we actually didn't know a lot about. So we learned while we were prepping for the show all about the Pontiac first generation's X bodies. So I want you guys in the chat to chime in with what you know. If you've got one, send us over to your channel. We'll check them out. The truth is, most people don't even talk about them. They just didn't get the attention that, the Le Mans, the GTOs, the Firebirds, all those got. So,
well, they went to the Ventura 2 and then the GTO, which we'll talk about.
Yep.
It was really weird in the 70s what they did at GM.
Yeah. I understand what they were kind of going through, but whoo, wow, I learned a lot.
I did too, actually.
Let's see here. Cousin Mike, tell us about the Pontiac that Barrows has, because, we're all about that.
Barrows has a Pontiac?
Apparently he has a Pontiac out front, according to Cousin Mike.
Huh. Well, I know Big Block 402 has a Pontiac 400 now.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
I don't know what he's putting it in, but he has one.
Didn't he take it down to Ed Machines?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I still got to take my 6-liter LS down to him. But hopefully I'll have a 454 in the garage soon. It depends. If more people buy Buff's Garage merch, I can get it sooner because I still owe the guy a few bucks. I just need some more money to do it because No Name Nationals wiped me out.
Me too, man. I was thinking about either starting a OnlyFans to show my feet or maybe some, shirtless pics or a GoFundMe. I don't know. But I figured it all out.
I figured I'd put one together that says, give me money, I'll put the clothes back on.
Yeah, that's what my wife kindly told me is that people would pay me to keep my clothes on.
Right. Well, let's get this started. We got a little Pontiac history to cover. All right. I got to pull up my notes, guys. So give me 1 second.
Is it a Nova or is it a Pontiac? Who knows?
I mean, it kind of looks like both. So, basic overview is the X platform is a rear-wheel drive architecture. It was introduced by Chevrolet and as a more conventional alternative to both the Y platform of the Buick Pontiac Olds and the Z platform of the old Chevrolet Corvair, which so many people seem to love. And you know, they debuted that architecture with the Chevy 2 compact sedan. So obviously I have a big Grand Prix and it is a massive car compared to its A body cousin or sister, but this was they considered a compact in the 70s, 60s and 70s. So they use a semi unibody, and the X platform body was from the firewall rear with frame rails bolted on to support your powertrain and front suspension. So, typical what we're used to, just the front end is frame and everything else is unibody. You can get your 4, 6-cylinder engines, even later on up into the V8s. So I noticed that they really compare this particular X platform to the Ford Falcon a lot. So I don't know if that was their main competitor for this particular body, but it's mentioned a lot in the history.
Yeah. So, little fact is they actually used on the X body, like your B body or whatever your car is. You know how your power steering box is in front of the like the engine cradle and stuff.
Yep.
The Nova, the Ventura, the Apollo, and the Omega, the steering box is actually behind the cross member, so it makes it kind of a pain for header room and
Oh,
stuff.
no. Yeah, no. So just to be clear, mine is behind the cross member. So
Yours is?
trying to put an LS in there, I had like an eighth of an inch before it touched.
Oh,
So what I really needed was like some block headers, some huggers, I mean. Um, or I saw on, I don't remember his name, another YouTube channel where he actually went through with the factory exhaust manifolds and cut them and then, bent them down and then re-welded patches in there. And I thought, for that amount of work, I'd just buy headers.
right.
But yeah, that's if that engine stays in my car, it's going to need some headers just so that I can clear that box a little better. It clears by about an eighth of an inch.
We have a new person in the chat.
Who do we
Somebody who's
got?
never been in here before. Well, now I lost it.
Well, let's see. I see Two Stall Garage, Country Mile Garage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome.
Well, I don't know that channel, but we're going to find out. Let's see. Ari, welcome, Ari.
All the way from California.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I got behind on my chat because we were talking.
Oh, I just happened to notice, and then everything changed. So
JB had a Olds Omega, which is right up the alley for what we're talking about.
yeah.
And Jared Cooper, I know that guy.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that guy? He was at No Name with us.
Oh yeah. Is that the guy in the Impala?
Yep.
Yeah.
Welcome, Jared.
I like that Impala. That was pretty sweet, actually.
Winda English, thank you all for joining us. We're talking about the X body. So basically, we started out talking about the X body, kind of how it came about. It started as a compact rear wheel drive version. Basically, it shared an unchanged chassis throughout the entire 17 model year production. So that's a long time to kind of stick with the same plan. It did have a basic body redesign in 66, in 68, and 75, but the underpinnings were pretty much the same. Most of these X bodies came as a two-door sedan, a hardtop, a convertible, and even a three-door hatchback. And they even had the four-door sedan and a station wagon. So pretty large variety of cars that came about before they even dipped into the Pontiac pool. So let me go back to my. Oh, yeah. So my picture here is, of course, the old 1971 Pontiac Ventura Coupe. I kind of like the 73, though. I'm digging it.
See, that's not that bad. The grills are better.
Yeah, the 73 Ventura Sprint is by far a better looking car. Let's see. Oh, Shopcat's telling us that Theo at Country Mile has one of the cleanest shops around. Well, maybe Theo can teach me how to clean mine because it's a mess right now.
Same here. If he watches any of my videos, whew, we have
LS.
that you have met him before at No Name Nationals.
I'm sure I have.
That is my 16-year-old.
Okay, then I definitely have. Awesome. Well, back to our X bodies. So, basically, the X body was kind of put in place. Like I said, what I'm seeing from research is it was really meant to compete with that Ford Falcon, but they wanted to create a smaller platform, unibody setup, simply to be more economical, more compact, appeal to a larger group versus just the big old body cars. And then in later, they got even smaller in the 70s, which are late 70s, 80s. But the key here is lots of different vehicles use this X body. From Chevrolet, Pontiac, Buick, Olds, they all used it throughout the entire span.
And doesn't like the A body, they at least changed the Le Mans and GTO look different than the Chevelle.
Right.
But when you get to the X body, they don't. They're all the same. They changed the header panel and the taillight panel.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, they all started in the 60s and, brought on the Chevy 2, which they renamed the Nova. Of course, Canada had its own version, the Acadian. And then Buick and Olds came out and used theirs as well. So what did they say? Olds Omega, JB has one. Pontiac Ventura, like you mentioned before, the Buick Apollo, Chevrolet Nova or Chevy 2 prior to that. Just so many different ones. And they even snuck in a GTO. Now, how many they made and for how long, it's tough to nail down the exact time frame. But the literature I got said 1 year. You said you found a 2 year. I don't care as long as they made one. But then what exactly did it entail?
Well, it looked to me like it had a shaker hood scoop.
Right. So, I mean, was it basic shaker hood and sticker package, or did it legitimately come to play?
I've never seen one, so I couldn't tell you. I've seen pictures of them.
Well, we're going to see a picture of one today. There's one right there. 1974 Pontiac GTO.
See, they kind of the grills kind of remind me of the 67 GTO.
Right. I think that was the idea, right?
It's just really odd looking.
So going back, so that first iteration in 71, Pontiac picked up the old X body and said, all right, here we go. We're going to put forth and make this car, the Ventura. And that Ventura model from Pontiac ran from 71 to 77. And then after that, the Phoenix name took over for the Ventura. So it was the Ventura, then became the Pontiac Phoenix. And obviously, it had everything from 6-cylinder, even 4-cylinder, V8s, the Pontiac 350. That's important. And you could get it in the column shift, 3-speed manual, 4-speed manual, 2-speed automatic, 3-speed turbo hydromatic.
That I don't know if they actually made it, but I think it was a concept. I seen it today when I was looking, and it talked like there was 5 of them, but I'm not sure if it was true or not. That they made a GTO Judge in 74.
Right.
It was
so
orange.
I saw a picture of a 74 that was carousel red. And I believe somebody just made one. I didn't believe that GM made it or Pontiac.
Well, from what I read, and I was in a forum, so who knows, that,
Right.
They said that GM made like two or 5. I don't remember what, but so I guess if you have one and it's a real deal, then you're sitting on a gold mine, maybe.
Right. And if it's just a made up thing, I don't know. But it's still cool. Hey, we got Leighton Motorsports up in here. Let's see what we got in the chat. Jared says maybe it's the angle, that 73, but the stance on that car looks way better than the other two. I believe you're probably right, sir. I think it looks really good the way it is. But anyway, let me get back to that. So we talked about the Pontiac Ventura, how it came along. We fast forward to the Pontiac Ventura Sprint. That was just an additional package that you could get. And obviously, it's got a little bit better stance, better wheels, upgraded engine, transmission, just little extra perks to give it a little bit more of a muscle car feel. And then I got to sneak into that one right there. So I'm telling you, sitting up on the big shocks in the back with the wide tires sticking out, that just screams muscle car right there. Even if it's not as cool as the 60s versions, I really like the look of that car.
Well, the oil embargoes really killed the 70s cars.
Right.
So they started, and then they introduced emissions we've talked about before. So
right.
They really choked everything down. Low compression. The big engines was gone because of insurance reasons. So now you're stuck with the less than 200 horse 350 Pontiac.
Right.
Where they was going for fuel economy.
So and I get that. I get it to a point, but if you're going to build, never mind. We won't even go there because we saw what they ended up doing in the 80s, and that's not in this episode. But back to this GTO. So Pontiac wanted to avoid this internal competition with the new Pontiac Grand Am, and they were looking for an entry into this compact muscle market, is what they called it. Currently, their big competitors were, the Ford Falcon, the Ford Maverick, Plymouth Duster, AMC Hornet X. So they kind of jumped at the chance to bring back that GTO option strictly for the Pontiac Ventura. And that, of course, we know you can look at it. It pretty much shared its body with the Nova. That's obvious. You could either get the GTO added to your Ventura or your Ventura custom line. It was a 2-door coupe version, and it had a traditional separate trunk, or you could get the old 2-door hatchback. with that big opening rear tailgate and the hydraulic rear struts. I'm sure those didn't go bad at all. I really like the idea of what they were going for. I don't know if they've executed it as well as it could have been.
And, you know, and it could be just that picture because that one looks like it's got Krager's on it. It's probably got air shocks.
Right. Yeah. So your basic GTO package included your 3-speed manual transmission with a Hurst floor shifter, heavy-duty suspension with front and rear anti-roll bars, a shaker hood, special grille, wing mirrors, and wheels, and various GTO emblems and stickers. The only engine that was offered was the 350 cubic inch V8, 7.6 to 1 compression, and a Rochester quadrajet carburetor. The engine was rated for a whopping 200 horse, which in that era wasn't horrible, and 295 foot-pounds of torque at 2,800 RPM. And your optional trans was a wide ratio 4-speed with the Hurst shifter or the 3-speed turbo hydromatic. You could even get power steering and power front disc brakes. Go GTO.
I'm stuck on that 7 to 1 compression there. That is horrible.
So this particular GTO obviously created a lot of animosity, some real sore spots for all the loyalists out there, and it didn't help when Motor Trend tested it for their Hot Sports Compacts in the February '74 issue. The staff could only muster a 0 to 60 of 9.5 seconds and a quarter-mile trap time of 16.1 at 84 miles an hour. We had cars at No Name doing that in the 8th mile, so just saying.
I think we had monkey bikes doing that.
So it looks cool, but it wasn't fast. I think it was High Performance Pontiac magazine called the car a joke of a Ventura compact, uglier and stupid looking.
Yeah, I read that.
That's rough, man. And they only sold 7,058 units. But obviously that wasn't enough to keep it going, and it caught enough backlash that they just backed away.
They had a real bad rust issues. What I was reading, and a lot of people did not like the subframe.
Right. Well, I mean, again, unibody car, just there's something to be said. Like my car, big old huge B body, full frame. Yes, I had some frame issues in the back, but the rest of the car is solid, and the body can even be rusting and trying to fall away from the frame, but that frame's solid, and it's hard to beat that for stability. My doors still close. Just give it a light push and it close perfect. And that's after sitting. Wow, look who we got here. I saw a few more come in.
We got John Wilburn.
We do have John Wilburn. We got Don, the one-eyed cat. Nathan's Mopar Garage. Bear Rose is in the house.
Good evening, Bear Rose, John Wilburn, and everybody.
Oh, Ed's Machine. Hello, Ed. We were talking about you earlier. Just that we all need our engines worked on. Because you're doing a 5.3, right?
I bet he could help this 7.6 to 1 compression Pontiac GTO out.
Yeah, this 74 GTO with 200 horse and needs a little bit of help. Let's see. Let's just move on. I don't know. I kind of like that tail light in the rear end, but
see, I do too, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh my God. There you go.
Oof.
Whew. So 75. There's your 75 Pontiac Ventura. Apparently the Ventura SJ, not sure what that SJ meant, but SJ was a new offering in 75. And GM decided to restyle all of their, again, compacts with new roof lines, improved suspension, and they shared that suspension with the second gen F platform, which is your Camaros and Firebirds, plus your standard front disc brakes. Um, they marketed this Ventura SJ as an American rendition of a Euro style luxury sports sedan that Pontiac created for that larger midsize Grand Prix 73. Um, they claimed it was a competitor for the new Ford Granada and the Mercury Monarch. And those were both luxury compacts. So this Ventura SJ was their luxury version.
I'm just going to say that I think the 70s was a really low point in the automotive car.
They were having a
World.
hard time, man. They're just having a hard time. Yeah. So apparently they upgraded the interior on those SJs, trying to keep up with the Audis and Mercedes. Um, they added reclining buckets. You can get cloth or vinyl. You had a center console, rally instruments, and they borrowed that trim package name from the Grand Prix. Even then, the Grand Prix was a big car. So this was their little, I guess, Euro version cousin or sister, cousin's brother's uncle. I don't know what this is supposed to be, but it wasn't an attractive car.
No. I can definitely see the Grand Prix in the front of it, though.
Oh, yeah. So let's see. Moving on to, there you go, 76. So by 76, they changed the grille, revised the taillights. They included an Oldsmobile 260 cubic inch V8. By 77, the Chevy 256 was replaced by Buick's 231 cubic inch V6 as the base power plant. And then the old Chevrolet 305 was introduced as an option.
That's probably the best thing that happened to it. I hate to say that, but.
Right. They even saw within those years the Iron Duke four-cylinder make its debut.
I bet that was a hot rod.
Yeah. So by the beginning of 77, the Ventura SJ was the top line model, but at mid-year they replaced it with the Phoenix.
See, that actually looks better.
I like that particular car better.
And that's a G body, right?
No, it's still the X body.
Is it?
Yep. Still an X body car in 77. But I see where you're going with it. So the Phoenix was the top of the line, mid-year 77. Had that distinctive center grille that went, top to bottom, all the way through the bumper. And rectangular headlights, the most luxurious interior available in a Pontiac X-body car. Otherwise, the Phoenix was basically just the plushed-up Ventura, much like the Chevrolet Concourse was related to the more mundane Nova. I still like the Nova. I've always been a Nova fan.
Buck's giving us a lesson here on the SJ trim designation.
All right, teach us.
Buck says that the SJ trim designation was Sports J. The J was Luxury J.
Yeah.
Some people say that the model J was J name was meant to remind people of the supercharged Duesenberg Model J in the 30s.
Oh, cool. Look at that. We're getting history from Buck. I love it. Buck may know a thing or two.
Buck has an X body. His Buick Apollo is an X body.
Are you sure it's an Apollo?
Well,
I'm not testing you. I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure it's the Buck Skylark.
Oh, it is a Skylark. Yeah, that's right.
Ha
That's right.
All right. So let's see. Pontiac Phoenix. We talked about that one. They called that their compact car. And of course, they started out with the X body rear wheel drive, and then later the X body became a front wheel drive. And we're not talking about the front wheel drive X bodies. So that's more of the four-door Phoenix, which if you look at the difference, no, I'm sure the paint and the wheels and all that makes it look good. But when you turn it into a four-door, I don't know, kind of looks a little not as cool.
That's bad. Somebody should have been fired immediately.
They were later trying to keep that car alive, trying to keep the names alive, but of course, eventually, it just rolled into the Grand Am. Grand Am got all the glory on that one. So by 77, that Phoenix was the upscale version. We already talked about that. We talked about the engines, and basically they were your fancy little Ventura. Let me go back to my models here. I think that's all I've got for history. Oh yeah. Well, I don't want to look at that car anymore.
So the GTO looks really good when you throw that up there.
Yeah, let's go back to that. That doesn't look so bad now. I'm just saying.
It just
So,
like
in the chat, guys, tell me. Obviously, some of you have X bodies, but if you had to pick and you wanted to choose a Pontiac, would you go after the 74 Pontiac GTO? Obviously, you could always upgrade it, change things if you wanted to. Let the purists scream and yell at you. But if you could go after the 74 GTO with these really cool taillights, would you do it?
I would.
I think I would. Oh, look at that. Dr. Artis here. Jay from Irish Outlaw Garage. Jay is just awesome. That's right. SJ. Super J. I happen to know this guy. He finally made it.
He probably should be working, I'd say.
Alan's Cars and stuff. It's an Oldsmobile Buick Nova.
Clint Street Machines and Dudes with Wrenches made it.
Woohoo! Welcome, Clint and Dudes with Wrenches.
Dudes with Wrenches.
I think he might have an X body. What was it 48 Hours? Eddie Murphy, he had a Nova, didn't he?
Yeah, his was a Nova.
Or was it Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah, that was Beverly Hills Cop. He had
That's
that blue Nova.
Yep. All right, cool. So Dakota says, for the right price, he'd take one. Well, yeah. But the prices are what they are right now. Who honestly would want to spend on something that you don't just absolutely want?
It would have to not be the hatchback, though.
Dudes with Wrenches. Yes, sadly we do. So, dudes, I have seen it, but I don't remember. Is yours the hatchback or just the regular car? I think the one we're looking at right here is the hatchback, right?
Yeah, that's a hatchback.
All right.
I had a 75 Nova Super Sport, and it was, it was ugly.
Country Mile, yep, Beverly Hills Cop, blue beat up Nova. I always liked that car.
I actually have a diecast of it, or a little Hot Wheels car of the Beverly Hills Cop Nova.
Because my grandmother had like I want to say, well, she had a 70-something Nova. She ended up having two of them. She had the original Nova, and then later more of this late 70s version, the boxier version. She always wanted the Nova, though.
Ed, have a good night, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Dudes had a regular lid, regular Omega.
So does it have the 307 in it, or is it a V6 car?
You know, I feel bad because I have watched his show and I did know he had one. But as of right now, I don't know. Hey, Ed, have a good night, buddy. We appreciate you dropping in. Get back to work tomorrow on those awesome engine machines because we're going to be bringing mine down soon, even though he
Where
can't get to it till after December.
where is he located at?
Arkansas, closer for you than for me.
Huh, that's good to know. I need a good machine guy.
He's a good one for sure. Dakota says he put 12 batteries in the trunk and make it do all the bouncing and stuff. I mean, if I get some really fast, what do you call them, valves for my car, I could make it jump. I wouldn't,
See,
but I could.
I don't know how well that would work with a unibody car. I've only seen that done with full frame cars, so
It's
it
worth
might
it.
break in half.
It's worth a try, right?
I mean, why not?
You can do anything once. All right, guys. It's 8:36. So you know what? I think it's time for trivia.
Dun dun dun.
I even have a little thing for that. Let's show the bam. Man, do I love that.
That is pretty cool.
And Dakota said he'd add. Let me bring it up here. He'd open up the trunk and add a big screen TV with smaller TV screens. So just like Hater Vision in the back. He'd pop that rear hatch open.
So I'm going back to what was that show? Pimp My Ride.
Yes. Yeah, just pretty much put a screen on everything. You know, don't keep it original, don't keep it pure, don't even keep it, reasonable. Just go stupid with it and put screens on everything.
They did a Trans Am with a chandelier. I about strangled Exhibit through the TV.
If you pop the hood, you want to have the big screen drop down because you don't want to look at the engine. You just want that big screen. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, they did TV monitors in the mud flaps on something. I don't remember what I was like. Oh my god, what is wrong with these people?
They have nothing else to do and a lot of budget. Country Mile likes the old 73 Pontiac Ventura Sprint. I think that's what I want to get back is X-body cars can be made to look pretty cool. And I'm sure with the right tweaks on the engine and trans, you could probably make it a fast little car.
Oh, no doubt. My buddy has a 71 Nova that's a 10-second car. I mean, it's turbo LS deal, but
right.
And he's still using leaf spring suspension.
Here we go. That's what your drop-down screen's for. Play a video of a better engine.
Is that kind of like the new electric Mopars playing car sounds?
Right. It's got the fart sonic, engine sound. I don't think that's how you say it, but that's what it looks like. All right. Who wants to do some trivia, guys?
Everybody always wants to do trivia.
So make sure you put in the chat what your answers are. Jason's got a question. Maybe it's in the trivia, but if not, remind us, Jason, and we'll hit it up. Uh-oh, dude's got a bad connection. Hope I have a good connection today. How about you?
Oh, you're much better this week.
Yeah, I don't know what happened last week, but
I would say you better have good internet where you are.
Yeah. So if you guys don't realize, I'm at work. So if I just all of a sudden disappear, Ray's got it.
Yeah, I got this. Maybe.
All right. First question, guys. Which vehicle shared the X-Body GM platform with Pontiac? Was it A, the Camaro, B, the Skylark, C, the Citation, or D, the Grand Prix? And if you were paying attention earlier, or you own one, you might know the answer to this. Let's see what the chat says.
Nothing yet.
Oh, there we go. We got B. We got B. We got B. So Hunter says B. Clint says B. Alan says B. Jay says B. Buck says B. Wendy English says B. You know what? If you're at this point, if you haven't said B, oh, here we go. Jason's Garage says citation. So we got one naysayer. That's all right. He did not want to follow the crowd. I love that.
But is he wrong?
Well, let's find out. Oh, look at that. It's B, the Skylark. If you don't know this guy, go check out Buck Does It. He happens to have what he calls the Buck Skylark. And it exactly falls right into the same realm we're talking about with these X bodies.
Is that the same one that laid a butt whooping down on JB's speed shop?
I think he might have gapped him just a little bit. Took him to Gapplebee's.
The Battle of the V6s.
Yep. But JB's got a blower on his new one. So now Buck's putting a 455 in his. So let's just see how this turns out next time. Cousin Mike, if he missed that one, he'd laugh. I'm glad you like it, Buck. I couldn't help but put the Buck Skylark right front and center. All right. Next question, guys. What year saw the first X-body platform car produced by GM? So we talked about our X-bodies, specifically Pontiacs, but let's test your knowledge. What year was the first X-body platform car produced by GM? Was it A, 1950? Was it B, 1958, C, 1962, or D, 1974? Oh, we got all kinds of answers already. Cousin Mike says 74. Buck says 62. Alan says 74. Jason says 62. Oh, we're getting a lot of C's here. Wendy and Clint on the C. Hunter says 58. Dakota says 50. Jared says 62. All right, we'll give them a few more minutes, see who else wants to chime in.
I know the answer to this one.
Do you?
Yeah.
For all GM or just Pontiac? Oh, you already read it. Well, when you know what the show's featuring, it's easier to look it up ahead of time. Oh, Jay says 62. Let's check it out. If you said C, 1962, you are correct. Even though not by Pontiac, by 62, Chevrolet introduced the X-body line of vehicles, starting out with the Chevrolet Chevy 2. Good job to everyone that got that one right. Hunter goes, but didn't they build them on X frames way before? Okay, well, what you describe and what they called it are two different things.
A lot of your convertible cars had the X frame,
right,
but not the X body.
But they weren't X body cars. It's kind of like F body, A body, B body. This was the X body. All right, next question. Now remember, we're not talking inflation, talking real time 1974 money. What was the original base price for a 1974 Pontiac Ventura? And I will tell you, I looked it up at 3 different places, and all 3 of them said the same thing. So was it A, $3,143? That's actually pretty cheap, isn't it? B, $5,383. C, $7,700. Or D, $15,200. That's a lot of money in 74.
Yeah.
Let's see. Poor Hunter, he's never heard of an X-body. Well, now you have, Hunter. You watched the show. You've learned what an X-body is.
Yeah, we taught somebody something.
But we're not talking about the second generation of X-bodies. That's a whole other can of worms. All right, in the chat, we've got Alan with 5,383. So he picked B. Looks like Cousin Mike, Jason's Garage, Buck Does It. They all said A. Dylan, Jared, Jay, Clint, they all said A. Hunter says B. Wendy says A. Shopcat says A. Wow. So, like, really, it didn't cost a lot to, well, granted, that's a lot of money in 74, but Hunter says he's just going to stick with his box frames. All right, buddy. I like my big B body car too. So the real answer is A. $3,143 would get you a starting price on a 1974 Pontiac Ventura.
See, that's a good looking car
I kind of like it myself.
with the Judge spoiler.
I'm guessing this is one of those, slightly upgraded. See, it's got a little shaker hood on the front too.
Yeah.
This was a well-appointed version. This was not the $3,000 one. But that's okay. So this is true or false, guys. Pontiac named their first ever X-body platform car the Ventura 2. Is that A, true, or B, false? Look at that 4-panel grill and everything.
If you look up the Olds Omega, they did not change a lot between the Pontiac and the Oldsmobile in that one.
Right. They really kept it pretty close. All right. Clint says true. Dylan says false. Buck says false. Shopcat says false. Hunter says false. Wendy false. Jay false. Alan says, I don't know. Jared says false. Oh, Jay's changed his mind. He said A. Well, let's find out. It is true. Even though Pontiac dropped the 2 after 72, the original name coined by Pontiac for the first ever X-body car was the Pontiac Ventura 2. So I'm guessing they kind of went after the Chevy 2, Pontiac Ventura 2. Uh-oh. Jay switched his answer after checking Google. Now, I think Jay probably knew. Jay knows those little minor details that I don't ever need to know. All right, we're ticking right along. We've got a few more slides. All right, now if you guys are paying attention, I mentioned it, but I didn't say exactly what year. So what year introduced the 2.5-liter Iron Duke 4-cylinder to the engine lineup for the Pontiac Ventura? Was that A, 1961, B, 1968, C, 1977, or D, 1982? I know that they had the Iron Duke in 82. They had it in 84 for the Pontiac Fiero. They had it for the S10. Oh, we're all over the place now.
Yeah.
Let's see. Clint says C. Alan says D. Jason says B, 68. Hunter says D. Dylan says C. And Jay says C. Jared says C. Let's see here. Good night, Country Mile Garage. Thanks for stopping in. We appreciate having you in the chat.
Yeah. Remember, every Thursday night at 8 p.m.
That's right. We do our best. If we're not going to be posting a live video, we'll try to let everybody know ahead of time. Look at that. It is C. Oh, Sand Mountain. Only 4-cylinder I need is the 195 cubic inch half a 389 trophy engine. Sorry, Hunter, but in 1977, you could get the economical option, which was the 2.5 liter Iron Duke that they so passionately loved. And it was added to the lineup of the already tuned down V6 and V8 options, because gas mileage.
I can't imagine that thing was.
I look at the X frame or X body cars and I'm going, even those are probably too heavy for the 2.5 liter Iron Duke.
Hey, Struggle Bourbon made it in. Good evening, sir.
Struggle Bourbon, I was putting together a short for you, and it's still in my draft, so I'll get it out later today. But I'm just going to say thank you, and you all can check out my short later. Buck, have a good one, buddy. Drive safe. All right. There you go. Iron Duke. If you like them, awesome. If you don't, start of the downfall. All right. Here you go, Jay. Jay, this one is just for you because I know you have the answer, buddy. What is the first year Pontiac used the name Ventura? Was it A, 1959, B, 1960, C, 1969, or D, 1972? Oh, wow. These guys are already answering. Cousin Mike says 1960. Hunter says 72. Dylan says 1960. Alan says 1960. Jason says 1960. Yep, I do appreciate you. The short I put together was greater than 60 seconds. I try not to do shorts that are even 60 seconds if I can help it. But so I got to, weed it down a little bit to try to get everything I want captured in it. Or I could just put it in an actual video later, but I'd rather just get the short out. Okay, Wendy says B. Wow, I think we got a consensus on B. Hunter says, I take it all back. It's A. So, again, pretty confident in J on this one. Sure enough, it was B. So the Ventura was first introduced for 1960 as a custom trim package on your Pontiac Catalinas, that 123-inch B-body wheelbase, and was only available as a Vista 4-door hardtop or the Sports Coupe 2-door hardtop. I knew I'd seen the Ventura before, but it wasn't its own thing. It had to be slapped onto the side of something else because Pontiac's never done that before.
Right.
Oh, Hunter's doubling down. He says A. Sorry, buddy. It was B. You missed it by 1 year.
Well, he had it right the first time.
No, he had D.
Oh, and then he went B?
And then he went A.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. Okay, so this was just random out of nowhere. But I'm going to test your knowledge because I like to talk about the concepts. The 1999 Pontiac GTO, it was based on the X body platform. Was it A, true, or B, false?
I know the answer to this one too.
Oh, Dad had one. I bet he didn't have the 99 GTO. Cousin Mike says A. Clint says it's false. Dylan says true. Alan with the question mark again. Jay says, nope, false.
Dylan, is that your final answer, son?
Hunter says false. Jared says false. Hunter says, wait, 99 GTO? I wanted to throw a curveball for you guys because I know you like curveballs. All right, Wendy says false. Hunter says, nope, no such thing. Well, let me school you, buddy. Bam, it is false. However, they did make a 99 Pontiac GTO concept because there it is right in front of you. And it
It
was
was
nothing
based on
more.
the F body, wasn't it?
Well, it was kind of its own. Yes, but they kind of wanted to capture the use of the F body while really going extreme. And honestly, they could have slapped a Firebird logo on it and called it good for the way that they designed it, but they were trying to bring back the muscle car, like really bring it back. And we saw what happened with that. It didn't work. All right, Hunter, concepts don't count. But the point I was making was that it was based on the X body, setup. And it was not. It's basically foam and clay, and it doesn't even roll. But yeah, I can see the Camaro in it as well.
Yeah, the A pillars, definitely Camaro.
You know what though? I really like some of the concepts that have been out there. The 90s concepts were really cool. Before the 99, the earlier 90 ones were pretty cool. Some of them actually got made into cars, but they didn't turn out all that great. Yep, got a hood tack, got your ram air hood.
Other than the weird lines down the side, I kind of dig it actually.
So if they hadn't come up with the Camaro yet, they definitely stole the look from this car, because this car just screams the new Camaro Firebird body. I agree. The Pontiac Banshee, I think it was late 80s, early 90s, they came out with this Corvette looking. Oh, it's really cool. Pontiac Banshee. And no, Clint, I am not proud. Oh, cousin Mike's throwing it down, man. Stole everything from Opal. Jared does not like the round fog lights. Okay. All right, here's a good question for you. What was your package code to transform your Pontiac Ventura into a GTO in 1974? Come on, guys. Look in your little owner's manual. Figure it out. Was it the A, WV2, the B, GT80, C, U71, or D, WW3?
That was a low blow, Clint. I'm with Landon. That was,
Yeah,
man. Why?
for sure.
The only worst thing you could have thrown at us was the '80s Pontiac Lemans.
That's another episode, because at some point we have to cover the ones that nobody wants to cover.
The worst Pontiacs ever.
That'd be a great show, I think. And we could see how people really sit on that fence. All right. So Hunter says C. Alan's C with a question mark. At least he's staying consistent. Cousin Mike, the old GT80. Dylan says C. Clint says U71. Struggle Bourbon, it's going with A. Jay says C. Jared says B. Wendy's got no clue. Oh, see, this is why he's bringing that Aztec up. The design team lead was a friend, and he loved it. Well, there you go. It worked for Breaking Bad.
It did have a tent that came out the back of it that was kind of cool, and a cooler in the console. That's all I can say about it.
It had the potential. All right. Guess what? It was D, the WW3. For $461, you could throw the GTO package at your Ventura, It included 3-speed manual transmission with the Hurst floor shifter, heavy-duty suspension, front and rear anti-roll bars, shaker hood, special grille, wing, mirrors, wheels, and, of course, your GTO badges. Clint, we all thought stuff like that, and we all learned different later.
That's what Hitler thought about the Volkswagen Bug too.
Well, it kind of did revolutionize things. Well, there's that. All right, I think I got one left. Here you go, guys. Which of your Pontiac Power Hour hosts owned a 1977 Pontiac Phoenix? Is it Ray or Buff?
I
And
know
if you
the
don't
answer to this one.
what they look like, there you go. That's a 77 Pontiac Phoenix. What do you guys think?
I've owned a lot of Pontiacs, guys.
I've owned a couple, just a couple. Probably a couple too many, but can you really ever own too many Pontiacs? Oh, Hunter with the both. Cousin Mike says it was you, Ray. There you go. Dylan doesn't even know. Clint says he doesn't know. All right, going with A. Shopcat says B. Which one of our hosts LS swapped a Pontiac? Well, duh. Both. Jay says B. Jay's picking me. Wendy's picking me. Struggle Bourbon's picking me. Alan says both with no question mark. He's pretty confident.
B is for Buff.
I thought it was easier that way, right? Well, we've reached the end of our show, so the answer is me.
Yeah, I've never owned one.
Yeah, so mine looked exactly like the one in the picture. My parents forced me out of my 1968 Chevelle because they said, it's too fast. I'm going to kill myself. And, the gas mileage will be better. And I got to tell you, a 1977 light blue metallic Pontiac Phoenix with a Buick V6 not only didn't get great gas mileage, but it also wasn't a lady magnet. I pretty much hung up my, going to town clothes and said, nope, not going to be going out on Saturday. Oh, Dylan wants to remind us that the LS is a Pontiac motor too.
Yes, sir.
So this was one of the few that Ray didn't own. Thank God.
Right. I have never owned one of those.
I chucked that thing as quick as I could. Yeah, so I could fit the ladies in with the plush interior, but I got to tell you, they didn't want to come over. They didn't want to come check out the car.
Well, you could fit a bunch of them in the trunk depending on what you're into.
Yeah, that car actually had a trunk. Yeah, so my parents thought it was a good idea. I didn't. And at one point, even though I paid for the car, I got to tell you, that was a tough one. We got out of that as soon as possible. And I went to an S10, which honestly was better.
Oh, yeah. At least you could lower that and throw some wheels on it and have something local.
Which I did. Yeah. Yeah, Jay got one wrong.
Well, I did kind of, throw that. I owned a lot of Pontiacs out there, So
hey, that's all right.
Throw a few people off.
All right, guys. Well, that's all I got for the show this week. Hopefully, we'll have a pretty awesome show for you guys next week. We're working that out as we speak. So I'm just glad I didn't get called out during this one.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm glad you had good internet this week, too.
Me too. Hey, Dakota, so if you go to Alaska, you can take your 1977 Pontiac Phoenix and hook it to their rail and drive it off a cliff. They'll launch it every 4th of July. All right. Well, if that's all you got tonight, I'm going to head on out of here.
Everybody have a good night. Thanks for coming by.
Absolutely. And make sure every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central, you drop in. Next week will be on Punisher Lemans Garage page, but we're going to come back for the Pontiac Power Hour. So thank you guys for watching.
Have a good night.